Hi,
Hey,
everybody.
everybody. So happy to have you with us today. I'm very excited. If you don't know who we are, I am Hillary Buchholz, and I'm here with Patty Quinn. And we are the co-founders of We Heart Hounds, and we also have a very special guest with us here today as well.
We do. We have the lovely and amazing Johnna Devereaux. She's taking center stage, as you can see. We're super excited to have her with us today. She is a clinical pet nutritionist, and she's also founded an amazing holistic pet boutique in Rhode Island called Fetch RI. Thanks so much for being with us today, Johnna.
Thank you. And I'm also the director of nutrition and wellness for Bow Wow Labs, a phenomenal national brand delivering safety devices for dogs.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and speaking of safety devices, because Bow Wow Labs created this bully buddy that helps dogs chew and have fun with their bully sticks safely. Yeah. So, and it's wonderful because, like, obviously, we're kind of focusing on the safety aspect of things. You're also going to be chatting with us a little bit about a first aid kit to how to keep our pups safe as well.
Yes. So I think every household should have a first aid kit for their canines and
Yeah.
their humans too, but we're focused on canines. And technically, that's the one that I gravitate towards most. Because, if you think about it, dogs, I mean, they go out and they have fun. They're like little kids. They get into things all the time. And so when they
Yep.
come in with a little cut or scrape, or if they have a splinter, or if they have a cut dew claw, or God forbid, if something else happens and they get injured or attacked, you need to have a place where everything is centrally located so that
Yeah.
you can, have a calm peace of mind, knowing that everything that you might possibly need for the basic care
Yeah.
is in one
Right.
place.
Yeah.
I feel it's really important, and what most people don't think about is when you have a place, a plan, right? A plan where you know where to go, it makes it easier to think clearly so that you can then
Mhm.
assess the situation, stay calm, and then identify the actions and steps you need to take to make certain that your pet is going to be safe, is going to be okay, and God forbid, if necessary, you get them taken care of so that you can transport them to an emergency clinic or to the local vet
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
intensive professional care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love the idea of being able to, like, if you kind of can have that next step. So having that kit kind of gives you that, like, okay, I know what to do next. I need to go get the kit. That's my
Right,
first step. I need to,
right.
and that'll help kind of relieve that stress of that, acute, whatever the incident is that you're trying to treat. It'll kind of relieve that stress. So I love that.
It really truly does, because most times it is that first action that is the hardest for us to think of, because if it happens to our humans or to our pets, like, they are our life, right? They're our
Mm-hmm.
loves. And so you instinctively go into panic mode. And so what
Yep.
the idea is, you want to decompress that time to as minimal as possible, because you don't want your dog to feeling that you
Yeah.
want them feeling your stress or your anxiety. And so
Mhm.
really having that, okay, first step, I got to get my kit. That immediately solves that problem. And so as you're going to get the kit, if it takes a minute or 30 seconds, wherever it might be in your house, you already are starting to breathe and kind
Mm-hmm.
of bringing your anxiety level down, so that now when you're going back to your pet, or if someone's bringing it to you, you're already thinking about, now what do I need to do following that,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
When my little girl was attacked, she was attacked while we were walking on leash by another dog. I was not at home with my first aid kit, but I was able to understand. I went right to that same frame of mind of, okay, what would I get? And what I would have gotten was, I would have gotten gauze, right? Because I
Okay.
needed
Mhm.
to get to a hospital, and what I needed to do was wrap that area as tightly as possible to keep the skin together,
Right.
because she was a very bad attack, and she had flapping
Mm.
skin, and I could see
Oh.
her insides. It was
Oh.
awful, but I had to live through it, and having the kit and having that even in my brain, even though I wasn't right
Mhm.
next to it, really did help me assess, identify. I wrapped her. I didn't have a bandage with me, but I had a sweatshirt
Right.
with me. So I took off my sweatshirt and I wrapped it around it to keep bacteria
Right.
from getting in. So it's a really good place to start, um,
Yeah.
figuratively, and as well as, when you're right there. So, if we can, what I'd love to say, there's 13 pieces that I think every basic canine first aid kit should have. The 14th being a container. Obviously,
Okay.
I love a little toolbox. I love that I can put everything in it and I can shut it and I can tuck it in a corner, put it wherever, in a closet. Hopefully I don't need it, but obviously I've already identified I've needed it a few times. So that's the first thing that you need. The second thing that you need, and I'm going to try to go through this in the order of if there was a cut and scrape so that it is a little bit more easy for you to understand. So the first thing you would want to do if you have a dog that has a cut or a scrape or an injury is that, again, you want to identify and assess what's going on. So let's say it's a cut or a scrape. What you want to do first is to make certain there's no debris inside the wound. Now, if the wound is deeper than a 1/4 inch deep, right? All you really want to do is saline clean it, put a bandage on it, wrap it up, and call your vet, because anything that's more than a 1/4 inch deep will most likely need stitches. Okay. So don't really want to start disinfecting, because depending on how deep it is, you might actually do more damage than good.
Right.
So the saline wound wash is going to be the first step. So I'm going to take that and we're going to put that in our little kit. The second thing that you would need is going to be cotton balls. Okay. Cotton balls, because we're going to need these to use our disinfectant, which is going to be a chlorhexidine solution. So this is a diluted antiseptic. We recommend chlorhexidine over rubbing alcohol or hydrogen peroxide, because both of the latter, the rubbing alcohol and hydrogen peroxide, have been proven by research to actually slow tissue healing. So that's not what we're looking for.
Okay.
So use chlorhexidine, and you would use this in the cotton ball, or if it's a really small scrape, you would use Q-tips, right? To just kind of get in there in the area.
Okay.
And for the chlorhexidine, can you get that just at your regular, like,
drugstore,
Walgreens types of place?
You absolutely should. But what I'm also going to say is talk to your vet about your first aid kit. And if you can't find it, ask them, can I get some chlorhexidine? Because I'm trying to compile something. And I'm going to put a little asterisk here. If your dog has a certain medical condition, your vet may identify additional things that I'm not discussing here. That would be great and catered to your own catered dog kit. So we'd want to do the chlorhexidine. Then what we want to do is we want to have some bacitracin or some triple antibiotic ointment. The idea here is that you just want to put in a thin layer. Cuts need oxygen to heal. So we're not looking to put on big globs, right? We're putting on just a little layer to let oxygen penetrate, but also to have the antibiotic aspects of this work. And then you're going to want to cover that with a gauze pad. I don't know what we're up to on account, but so then we're going to go up to the gauze. And then you're going to need this self-adhesive gauze. So, or the adhesive tape, excuse me. So this actually will adhere to itself. It doesn't adhere to fur, so that you're definitely going to need that, and some round tip scissors, because you're going to need to cut this, and potentially, depending on the length of your dog's coat, you may also need to use these scissors to cut back fur. Now, with that said, anytime that you're going to bring scissors near your animal, you need to be aware that they're going to move, that there's a potential that you might cut them. So I always say use round tip scissors, and always do on the opposite side of your fingers. So if this is your dog's skin here, on top of, I can't do this. I can't do it. I want it to be up here, right? So this is the dog's skin, your fingers, and then here. So it's not going to be perfect, but until you can get buzzers or something like that. But this is just trying to assess the situation. Okay, so that would be just for cleaning cuts and scrapes. If your dog were to get sprayed by a skunk, or was on the beach and got sand in their eyes, it would be really beneficial to have some soothing saline eye wash, right? So that you can clear out the debris in their eyes. So this is going to be really helpful to have in here as well. Hopefully you never need it, but if you do, it's handy. We also have an antihistamine. Now, what I want to say with this is call your vet before you ever give any human medication to your pet. Do not think that because you did it once before that it's okay to do it again. This would specifically be used in cases like of a bee sting, where the bee has actually left the stinger in. And if the bee has left the stinger, use your fingernail and scrape towards the way the stinger has gone in. You want to get that stinger out. If you were to use tweezers or something like that, you actually could break the stinger and leave the part with the venom inside the body. So use your finger, scrape against it, and then call your vet and say, hey, listen, my dog was bit or stung, I should say, by a bee. They're swelling up. What can I do? And they will usually tell you what is the right amount to administer your dog according to their size and weight. Again, I say always ask, because if your dog happens to be on other types of medication, there might be some sort of contraindication. And so you never want to just take that on your own.
Right.
Okay. Woo.
We covered a lot in a really short time.
Do you guys have any questions so far?
Yeah, no, I think this is great. And I love some of the little tips that you're providing. I mean, even things like not using tweezers, because that would probably be the first thing that I would go for. But you're right, you could still leave, a little bit inside that, that had the toxin and stuff. We had a dog that got bit by a bee on her tongue. So it went immediately into her bloodstream and she went into anaphylactic shock, and she turned out okay because my husband was able to get her to a vet really quickly and they put her on fluids and stabilized her and everything. But yeah, I mean, every situation is going to cause, a different reaction, a different assessment. So it's important to have all those things on hand. And if we had known to maybe even use the Benadryl or call our vet, but while he was on the way, that might have calm some of the hyper reaction down to it and stuff.
Yeah. And just be mindful that a bee will leave the stinger. A yellow jacket or a hornet will not. A wasp or a yellow jacket, they can actually repeatedly sting.
Yeah.
So hopefully, this is the time when they're all about, right, getting ready to pollinate. So just be aware of that. And I forgot, this is also really important, and I had to choose pink. We always want to use gloves, right? This really should have been the first thing. Anytime that our dogs have an injury, you really want to put gloves on to make certain that you're not reintroducing new bacteria into a situation that is already compromised. So moving on from there, let's talk about ticks. So again, a lot of people are going to gravitate towards tweezers. I do not use tweezers with ticks because you oftentimes end up squeezing the body, which then injects more venom into your animal, and you end up breaking the tick off and leaving the head in, which then leaves it ripe for infection. So these tweezers will be in our first aid kit, but they will only be in the first aid kit for extracting a potential wood splinter or a thorn. Other than that, you really don't want to use these for anything else. What we want to use for a tick is going to be something like this. I hope you all can see that.
Oh yeah, tick remover. Yeah.
So this is a great little tick tool. I love this tool. I oftentimes go to the canine kit because sometimes I live in the woods. I'll find a tick on me, which is really gross, but this is what I use. So if you have a tick on you, you would actually use it like this. Twist, and then the entirety of the tick comes right off without any pressure or anything from us. The tool does all the work, and it always takes the head out. Depending on where you live, if you're concerned of the type of tick, you can then take the tick, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then you can mail it away or bring it down to your local vet for them to identify. And if it is a potential Lyme tick that is infectious, then you can, take some proactive measures to help your dog at that time. We also want to talk about what no one ever wants to do. The thermometer and the Vaseline.
Yeah.
So every kit should have a thermometer and a Vaseline, So ideally, if you'll never need to use this, but if your dog is not feeling well, if they become lethargic, if they're not eating, what you want to try to do all the time before you call your vet is collect as much data and information for them as possible in a very clear manner. So you'd want to indicate, when they became lethargic, how are they sleeping a lot? Are they having a hard time walking? When was the last time that they ate? Are they having normal or loose stools? Is it liquid diarrhea? Are they vomiting? Is it bile? Is it foamy? And if you can, it would also be really helpful for you to say to the vet, my dog has a temperature or my dog does not have a temperature. So these are going to be really handy to have. The Vaseline is obviously just to help the penetration into the anus so that there's no pain. So this is something that we would be putting in our kit as well. And then finally, I always recommend people have a muzzle. I hope you never need to have a muzzle, but the muzzle is really to protect your animal and the people that are trying to help them.
Yeah.
God forbid they get hit by a car, or if they break a bone, if they jump over a log and hurt their leg and they are lame in a leg, you know, the canine instinct is to go into defense mode, right? And to protect
Mhm.
themselves. And so even the people they love the most, if they're in a
Mhm.
lot of pain and you go to touch them, they may turn and snarl, they may turn and snap. That is actually a perfectly okay way to respond
Yeah.
when you're
Mhm.
in pain and someone is hurt and someone is inducing further pain, as far as I'm
Mhm.
concerned.
Mhm.
I don't expect my dog to have the best manners when he's in pain, or if he's been hit
Mhm.
by a car, God forbid, or has a broken
Right.
bone. So
Right.
the muzzle is going to protect him and protect the people around him so that he doesn't or she doesn't bite the person that's trying to help. So this is something that, again, I hope you never need, but I think is really important to have inside your first aid kit. So with
Right.
that, you close it up and you have a perfect, well, we try to close it. There we go. Oh, it doesn't want to close right now. Okay, you close it up and you tuck it away and you put it away, hoping that you never really need to use it.
Yeah,
I
no,
love
I love that. Yeah, I think that's great. It's also helpful. I mean, it's hard to think of our docile dogs needing a muzzle, but almost the sooner you can get that muzzle on, especially if it's a major accident or injury or something like that, the quicker your dog can get treatment, right? I mean,
Yes.
you know, it's sometimes people that don't know your dog or you don't know how your dog's going to react is going to slow down the people actually performing, you know, emergency services
Right.
on your pup. So yeah, so I think it is. I would never have really thought about putting a muzzle in my first aid kit. So I think it's a
Yeah.
great suggestion.
And
Yeah.
but to your point, it's a great point. You know, I'm thinking, and I'm saying this from I want to protect my animal and the people around them. I wasn't even thinking about the perception of other people. So you're
Mhm.
right. Having a muzzle on really also allows the people that are coming in to take care of your dog to
Yeah.
feel more confident and comfortable in their own safety as well. Um,
Right. Right.
and so obviously, you know, I mentioned if a dog gets hit by a car, if your dog gets hit by a car, you know, you really want to call a vet right away, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
depending
Right.
on how they were hit or where they were hit, how you should move them, etc.
Right.
Um,
Right.
you're not talking about a first aid kit at that point, but it's just something that you should have handy. And like I said, hope you never need it. But it's something good to be able to train your dog into. So, you know, the thing with the first aid with the muzzle is that most dogs are not going, they're not going to love these anyway, right? No one
Right.
loves
Yeah.
this. And
Right.
so one of the things in first aid that's really important and in CPR is that you try to minimize the stress on your dog. So
Mhm.
this in and of itself might increase stress to your dog. So one of the things you
Mhm.
can do is while your dog is totally safe and fine, is you can practice putting the muzzle on them, getting them to use it so that when, God forbid, you do need it, it
Yeah.
goes on increasing their heart rate. And you can do that by just, you know, putting it on their nose quick, giving them a treat, you know, doing that for like 5 minutes and then put it on their nose, put it over their head, giving them treats.
Right.
Sensitizing them to this because it's not something comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So just a thought on
You
that.
know, I think that's a really, really good suggestion to kind of help them become familiar with it when they're well, so that when they're not well, they don't. That's not another stressor in the immediate situation, which I think is great. So we have lots of people chiming in. This is so great. Thanks everybody for being with us today. We've got Amy and Vicky saying hi, and Megan really saying it's important to use a muzzle. Hi, Dana. She's talking about how helpful everything that you're talking about is. It's great. We have a question by Christy. She's saying, would you recommend any different items based on a dog's age, like puppy versus an adult or versus a senior? And then are there different items that you keep in a kit for your home versus one for your car?
So that's a really good question. So I'm going to just, this is going to be a basic kit. So this would be
Mhm.
for dogs across ages and sizes and whatnot. One thing I did forget to add that I think every kit should have, and this would be in a home kit and one for your automobile, is numbers for your local veterinarian
Yeah.
clinic
Yeah.
and for the local emergency clinic, right? That's open
Mhm.
24 hours. And also have a number for a pet poison line. So
Mhm.
God forbid your dog ingests a plant or, you know,
Mhm.
chocolate with theobromine or caffeine, like you have a place to
Right.
call to immediately identify what you should be doing at that point in time. So with
Right.
that said, you know, depending on, I don't know that I would vary necessarily what would go in here for a younger dog, but maybe for an older dog, I might
Mhm.
add a towel or something that if they fall and get lame, I can actually use under their belly to help
Mhm.
kind of help them
Right.
move.
Right.
That might be something that I would add, but
Right.
in general, for most standard first aid, these are what you need. If you get beyond this, then you really have to be contacting your veterinarian, and
Right.
they'll give you guidance. This is, again, just a basic kit. For your car, that's a really brilliant question that I hadn't thought of. And so one of the things, well, I shouldn't say I haven't thought of it. I just didn't think about it in the context of what we're doing.
Mhm.
One of the things you might want to just go do is go down to your local drugstore and just go get one of those little clear, like makeup or travel kits, like the little
Mhm.
bags you take to the
Mhm.
airport that you put your little, 3 ounces or 4 ounces of 1
Right.
ounce, whatever that is. And you can just have in there, um, again, have this,
Like the
uh,
saline solution, the eye
have
wash,
the
some of that
saline
other stuff.
solution,
Yeah, all of those
have
things.
this in here.
Yeah.
This, besides this self-adhesive gauze, beyond being something that can wrap, this can also be a tourniquet. God
Mhm.
forbid you need it, right? If you have a dog that
Mhm.
is gushing blood, you can use this to kind of tighten
Mhm.
up and stop the bleeding. So I'm trying to
Mhm.
think of, and always have gloves, right? So you'd want to have your
Yeah.
gloves, you want this, you'd
Right.
want to have the saline solution, and have something that you can wrap it. In essence, if you need something on the go, you want the bare minimal, right? Or the bare
Right.
essentials. You can't really carry around a toolbox with you everywhere,
Right.
just
Right.
until you can get to a place where you can give more attention to the animal or get them to a veterinary clinic. But
Right. Right.
so yeah, just to recap, the gloves, the self-adhesive gauze, the eye wash,
Mhm.
um, and the saline wound wash, and then
Mhm.
just a little gauze pad to cover, um,
Right.
would be my recommendation. But great question.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned early, Christy, in the conversation, which you can go back and rewatch. But just talking to your vet about your specific pup's needs. So if your dog is diabetic and they need insulin, or there's certain medications, pain medications, or things that your dog regularly takes, having an extra set of those somewhere else handy, in a first aid kit or in your car could be helpful. And I think even like hopefully everybody's taking this anyway when they travel, but bottle of water and and some travel bowl and things like that. So if your dog's dehydrated or something like that, and they need to get some water or fluids, that those are also good things to have, I think, in the car as
Absolutely.
well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It
Well,
does look,
hopefully
I
whenever you
just
travel
want
with your dogs, you bring water anyway, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, hopefully these are things you typically take anyway. But
I did want to mention, it looks like there might have been a small, if you're watching on our VIP group in Facebook, it looks like there might have been an issue. So hopefully if you're seeing this message, you can come over to either just our regular Facebook page or the YouTube. And we will obviously repost this as well, so you can watch all of this in case you missed any or
yeah.
in case it cut out for you. So we apologize for that. It looks like
Johnna,
Facebook
as
is
you can
having a little
imagine, we've had a
issue.
lot of people interested in this topic, so this has really
That's
been
great.
great. Yeah,
No, it makes
really
me
great.
so happy because, I feel like the best thing that we can do as pet owners is empower each other to be
Mm-hmm.
better pet parents, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the scariest things about being a pet parent is not knowing what to do when your dog
Mm-hmm.
is not feeling well. So
Mm-hmm.
this really does just give us a little bit more confidence and empower us to be able to take care of them in a different way than we otherwise would have thought of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of the other things I wanted to mention, and especially for the car kit in particular, if you're leaving it in the car, but even for the regular kit, is checking them. Like, don't just think, okay, I've created my kit and I never need to go back and check on it again, because things like the gauze or things like that, or any kind of adhesives, some of those things will just start to dry out. They just get too old, and especially if you're dealing with like the car with heat and cold and kind of extreme temperatures, like make sure that kit's actually able to be used. So, check on it, whether it's kind of quarterly or something like that. So you're keeping, fresh
Even
items that will work.
even if you do it yearly, right? Like once a
Yep.
year, I think is
Mm-hmm.
sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you change your oil in your car more than once a
Yep.
year, but
Yeah.
do it with a tune-up or whatever you normally
Yep.
do with your car. Keep it in sync
Mm-hmm.
with your car or your yearly registration or your yearly automobile insurance. Just have that be that when you have to put your insurance out there, you check the first aid kit for the dogs,
Right.
right? And just kind of leave it
Or your
like that
dog's
and never
yearly
think about it.
checkup, your
Yeah.
dog's yearly checkup,
Yeah.
just kind
Yeah.
of have that remind you
Yep.
to check your stuff at home.
I also would say definitely have a tick tool in that auto kit. I did forget that. Always
Yeah.
have a tick tool with
Yeah.
you, because that is really important.
Yeah. That's something, Hillary, you got in your,
I-
you know, kind of in the woods and stuff near your house. You've got ticks and stuff. So that's an everyday tool probably in the
Well, and
summertime.
especially right now, spring is kind of the worst time for us, and they just get so thick. So it's one of the things. And even if it's not like we find them on ourselves, we find them on, like the dogs are treated. So usually it'll be, they just kind of carry them in, and then the ticks jump off, and then you can find them on other animals, or you can find them on yourself, that sort of thing. So it is like just getting them as quickly as you can, and using that tool is amazing, because you're not trying to fight with it, you're not making the situation worse, and it does get the entire tick. That's key.
Yeah. And so for those people that don't have a tick tool, that insist on using tweezers, I know you're out there. I'm going to say this. Just make certain that if you try to remove the tick with tweezers, and because if it hasn't happened yet, I can assure you it will happen. When the head gets embedded, right? Because you've broken off the tick, you want to take out the chlorhexidine, you want to clean the area, and you do not go digging to get that head out, because you are introducing new bacteria and you are creating a feeding ground for bacteria. I would recommend letting the body expel it itself, which it will over time. But just keeping the area clean. If you're very concerned, call the vet, but please do not try to eradicate that head on your own, because you will cause more damage than good. And then
yeah, exactly. We all learn from our own mistakes, right? Hopefully we learn from our mistakes.
That's what makes us human. Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, and we've got Felicia. Thank you so much for being here with us today. She's saying, you know, starting treatment quickly can save precious time and to save our pet's life, which is so true. Renee, thank you so much. She says great information. Carolyn has an interesting question. She's asking for to treat a heat stroke. Is isopropyl alcohol something that you would recommend?
I will not make that recommendation, because I'm going to say call your vet. Depending on where you are, the stage of your animal, the health of your animal, there are very specific stages that you want to treat. Treat that type of situation. And I'm not a big fan of just generalizing things that
Sure.
individualize to certain dogs.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you everybody for asking all the questions. One other kind of tip that I was thinking about in terms of this entire kit, especially the one that you have at home, think of it when you have pet sitters come to the house, or, you know, grandma and grandpa are coming to take care of your pets while you're away. It's good for them to know that it's there, that you have it, you know, and you can walk them through the items, you know, give them a little bit of a quick tutorial on what's there and what it can be used for, because it's not just for you guys, you know, at home, but for anybody else that's going to be caring for your dog as well. I think it's a really great asset to have on hand, and it would make me feel good if I'm, you know, going on vacation or I'm away and somebody's looking after my dog, to know that they've got that available to them. You know, they know that that's there. So I think that would be another tip for that. And
something else, you know, especially bringing up relatives or grandparents, you could also include a flashlight and a magnifying glass to this, because if you have someone that has lower, if they have reading issues, or if they need glasses, having those 2 extra pieces in there could really be helpful if they're trying to look closely. To just we could really build up quite a
even just but the you know, having the vet number, the poison control numbers, like all of that stuff in there, you know, I think even just as a pet sitter would make me feel comfortable, you know, better knowing, oh, if there's a situation, I've got everything I need right there, at least, you know, for those first few moments, to help take care of and assess the situation, which I think is fantastic. So this is great. And let's just jump over to, we kind of talked real briefly about Bow Wow Labs, which I know they're absolutely, they're so lucky to have you there, Johnna. I think it's fantastic. But their whole premise is to create a product that's safer for dogs to chew, bully sticks, which are great treats. They're long-lasting treats. We all love them, but there is a huge safety issue if you don't have a bully buddy. So yeah, if you could kind of, for those that aren't familiar with the bully buddy that Bow Wow Labs makes, if you could do just a little bit of a
So we have what we call safe fit bully sticks. So not all bully sticks are considered safe fit, but I'm going to tell you about bully sticks for a second. They are the bull penis. So they're going to be really high in protein, low in fat, and very desirable for the majority of dogs. The reason why we want to give these to our dogs is not only to give them a treat, because we all like to sometimes show our love through food, but also because the act of chewing actually calms them. It releases serotonin and dopamine, which provides a sense of calmness. It helps with oral health. It helps beat boredom. There's a lot of great benefits to this. The problem is that because this is such a dense and cartilage, it's like a cartilage, right?
Cartilage, yeah.
I was going to try to make that into a word that I can't think
of.
Okay. Okay. When it gets down to that last 1 inch, they no longer have the tactile ability to hold the bully stick. So they put it in their mouth. And then because they can't chew it in like 2 or 3 quick bites, they just swallow it. And that then becomes a potential for a choking hazard, or even worse, a potential for intestinal obstruction. So what we've done is we've created the Bully Buddy. And the Bully Buddy is a safety device that is patented to keep the bully stick in place. So you insert
just locks it in there, yeah.
You screw it down, and then I can't pull the bully stick out. And if I can't pull it out, your dog can't. And it allows them to get leverage by putting their paws on it, and they can safely navigate the stick. And when it gets down to that last 1 inch, you just take it and you throw it away, knowing that you've just saved your dog's life every time, because you never know when an accident is going to happen. That is, I think, the message of the day, right? Is always be prepared, because you never know what's going to happen. So this is our amazing Bully Buddy.
I love it. I love it.
We have starter kits that come with this cute little jar. The Safe Fit bully sticks are great because this Bully Buddy comes in 6 different sizes. And so not all bully sticks fit all of the Bully Buddies. So our Safe Fit bully sticks have been hand selected and sorted to make certain that it fits your specific size. So there's never a waste of money or a bully stick that doesn't fit. Then decide, what do I do? Right? Because every time you get one, you have the potential for hazard. So that's the Bully Buddy. And I have a feeling you're going to ask me about our newest
product. We are.
So these are the amazing Crunch Puffs. I wish my dogs weren't sleeping right now. And if I opened the bag, they'd probably come running. I could assure you of this. But these are an amazing single ingredient beef crunchy treat that dogs are going crazy over. The crunch is amazing for me as a pet parent. I don't know what it is, but when I can hear my dogs crunching,
I know.
I feel like they are really enjoying it, and it just it makes me so happy. And these are a longer lasting treat. So rather than a biscuit, which might last your dogs like 1 bite and a swallow, this is going to be like more between 30 seconds to 2 minutes, depending on the size of your dog. Yeah, we just released them last week. We sold over 100 bags in the first 2 days.
Yay!
And they're flying off the shelves. So get yours at bowowlabs.com now.
There's a link in the description. So if anybody's interested, click the link to Bow Wow Labs and it'll take you there. So
and actually, I'm going to say please do, because when you go to the product page, if you scroll down, that's my little girl Lola crunching on the treat. It's my baby girl.
I love that. That's so awesome. Thank you so much for everything today. This has been fantastic. If there's other places where people want to learn more about Bow Wow Labs, I said we do have a link in the description below. Where else would you guys are on Facebook and Instagram? Like where else are you guys?
Facebook, so Facebook and Instagram, you can follow us at Bow Wow Labs. We also have a YouTube channel or bowowlabs.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. We'll send out some good information. Sometimes I'm writing blogs and we'll send that out in newsletter form, but just follow us. Your dogs will appreciate it.
I'm
Awesome.
sure. I know. I think that's fantastic. Well, this is great. So Renee had suggested a lighting magnifying glass too, so you don't need the little flashlight, which I think is great.
I didn't even know they made them. That's brilliant.
Thank you, Renee. And thank you, Vicki and Christy and everybody. Thank you so much. We're kind of wrapping up. It was so great to have everybody here. We actually ended up doing a giveaway. We have one of the other companies that we work with, adog.co, would like to donate 5 miniature travel dog first aid kits to folks that promoted today's episode, which I think was so fun. So it doesn't necessarily have, it might not have all the pieces that that Johnna has talked about today. So now you know all the wonderful things, because I don't know if it has like, it might have saline wipes, but it might not have like the saline solution. Like, so just make sure to, you know, go with what Johnna has said, but then you've got a nice little travel kit already, kind of your starter. But it's like got 19 little pieces of goodness in it to get you going. And we have picked 5 winners to win a little travel kit from adog.co. So the first winner is, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm so sorry.
No.
I don't want to take, I was going to say, if you guys want to go try out Crunch Puffs or Bow Wow Labs, just put in my special code Pet Health. And you can get 10% off our products too. So now,
okay, perfect. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. We just got all kinds. Everybody's a winner, right? That's great. That's wonderful. So the winners of the travel kits are Daniel Scott, Holly Thompson, Christy Murray, Amy Rolls, and Skyla White. So I hope I said everybody's names right, but congratulations, everybody. You're a huge winner. And Renee and everybody else, Vicki, we just love you guys just as much. So thank you, everybody, for being with us today. Just a lot of fun. Thank you, Johnna. This is wonderful, amazing. Wonderful news.
So helpful.
We've had Johnna here a number of times. She's done crafts with us and all kinds of fun stuff. So if you'd like to just see more of her, obviously she's told you all the links and places to go find her. But we also have some video and our videos in the replay that you can go watch in our playlist, and all the wonderful good stuff. Every time we have you here, we just learn all kinds of wonderful things. Yeah. And we're super excited and honored to have you with us today. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
I love you and your audience. You guys are great. So thank you.
Thanks. This is a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody, for being with us today. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks,
Take good care. Bye-bye.